Hey communicators, in this short video, I want to talk about the three models of communication. The cool thing about the three models of communication is that we can see them displayed in today's world. Starting off with the first model of communication, it is called the linear model. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It suggests that communication is a one-way process. For example, there is one sender, there is one message, and there is one receiver to that message. In today's world, there are two ways that we see the linear model in action. One example is the radio. When we're in our cars and we're listening to the radio or listening to any music, that specific medium is communicating to us in one way. It is one source, which is the music or the radio host, one message, whatever it is that they're saying, and one receiver, which is us, who we are listening to. Another example is TV. When we are when we're watching TV, that TV news outlet is speaking to one person at that very moment, which is us. There is one source, there is one message, and there is one receiver. So the TV and radio are two ways that we see the linear model in action today. The second model is the interactive model of communication. What this model introduces is the concept of feedback. It creates this phenomenon that there is both two sources, two messages, and two receivers. However, what this interactive model is saying is that we can respond to the messages that we get. One example of the interactive model of communication in today's world is text messaging. A lot of the time with text messages, we can't really respond to a message until we get the message. So we can see that in our everyday interactions with our phone. Another example that we see the interactive model at play is emails. We can't respond to an email until we get the email, but we are able to respond to it and provide feedback to the message. So these are two examples of the interactive model of communication. And the last model that I want to introduce in this short video is the transactional model. In this specific model, communication is simultaneous and people are always communicating, which is exactly what happens in our human interactions. In the transactional model, it accounts for everything that is happening when we're communicating with other beings. In this model, we're not only senders, but we're also receivers simultaneously, because I'm always communicating something to you, whether I intend to or not. It accounts for the channel of how we're communicating, so the way that I send the message itself. It also accounts for our background, right? Like we are human beings and we have a lot of things that come with us when we engage in conversation. So the transactional model suggests and actually takes into account with all that. And last but not least, it accounts for noise. For those who don't know, noise is anything that interferes with effective communication. An example is loud noise. So if there's construction happening outside when you're trying to have a job interview, that's definitely going to interfere with effective communication. But it can also be psychological noise. So sometimes we have these negative thoughts that hold us back and make us not say what we want to say. That also falls under the concept of noise because it definitely interferes with our effective conversations. But then there's also physical noise or bodily noise. If you're sick, if you have a stomach ache, that definitely makes you not want to communicate as normally well as you usually do when you're 100% healthy. So remember, noise is anything that interferes with effective communication. And an example of transactional model of communication is any kind of conversation that's face-to-face or human-to-human. So just to sum up this video, there are three models of communication. The first one being linear, where we see it with TV and radio. The second being interactive, which we can see in text messages and emails. And the last model, which is transactional model of communication, which is anything that's face-to-face or human-to-human interaction. Public speaking, interpersonal communication, job interviews, conflicts, all of those fall under transactional model. If you have any questions, please email me.